3-second warning.
Shane Kearns, bit of a bittersweet moment, your last Sydney Hobart. How was it?
Well, it was great. It was like a summary of my previous 17, and we had everything from the first day and a half of champagne sailing, and all the crews would say that. I found out a few things too. Normally I rely on at least 2 blokes being seasick when I do my rationing and water and all that sort of stuff, but because it was champagne sailing, everybody was eating, and I was worried about running out of food. But and then the next night, of course we had those conditions, and we went from exhilaration to horrifying, because we sort of went hard that night, and the boat hit 20 knots occasionally, and it might sound exciting, but it was really scary.
Yeah.
Big rooster tails, and that just should not happen for an SNS.
I was going to say an SNS 34 with a rooster tail. That's wrong.
Yeah, no one said anything until we got off the wave, and we went, "Oh, that was good." But, yeah, it was scary. But,
so a bit of a mixture of all sorts of conditions all the way down. People have been talking about how it was like a mixture of 6 Hobarts in all the different conditions.
Yeah. Well, after that, after the terrifying part, and it was worse the next morning. We could actually see the waves. It was not too bad when we couldn't see them that night. But then we started to close the Tassie coast, and we got bloody becalmed. And but we were with a lot of other big boats, so we figured they'd be more depressed to see us than we would to see them. But then we got going again, and of course I just couldn't get past Cape Rowell again.
Oh, God. If it's not too rough, it's too calm.
Oh yeah, well, and this year, I had everybody primed to make sure the boats in front are all moving when they go past, and do we go wide, do we go close? And the boat's only a mile ahead. We went through at 7 knots, and we thought this is it, And we got there, and instantly it was like the Bermuda Triangle of Tasmania, and we stopped, and Speedwell stopped in Arctos, and we were there for like 2 hours.
God,
very depressing. And we're watching down the coast as Crux and Maluga, they're going well, and I really was happy about that. And but anyway, that's the way it goes.
And there's a fantastic camaraderie though, isn't there, all the way down? I think you guys even gave Crux a bit of a heads up about their full start, is that right?
Yeah, well actually I should have waited a bit longer at Jarvis Bay. And,
right.
Yeah, and but he's saying, oh no, we went through the right one, and he started on start line 4, which is fine. Yeah. It just means he was late for 3. Yeah. And but yeah, he had to go check his sailing instructions to see he made a mistake, and then he turned around. Yeah. And but he would have got disqualified if he came all the way here, so that would have been pointless.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's fantastic. So Shane, you've done 18 Hobarts. How many with White Bay 6 Azzurro?
Ever since my wife got a boatyard, because the boat lives high and dry in Balmain, and before that we had Komatsu, and I had Komatsu from the Army connections, so I had them for a long time.
Now, pre-1998, the sort of protocols and requirements were a little looser, which was probably a good thing those got changed, but you were telling us a bit about the 98 Hobart, where you took a bunch of students down, and what were they saying to you?
Well, in those days I picked a Hobart crew out of my students from the races during the year, and the only 2 attributes I had to have was don't get seasick and good attitude, because you could work with that. Yeah. And and at the height of the storm in the 98, because we had 6 students and me and another guy that could sail, and 6 paying customers, and there was no duty of care in them days or anything like that. And at the height of the storm they said, is it always like this? And I just said, yeah, always, every year. And, I didn't know any better, so...
Probably just as well, I think, in the circumstances.
I don't think they've ever sailed since, but but they had one good year that they'll always remember.
Now, the SNS 34 is a fantastic little boat. They are absolutely brilliant. This boat is immaculate. You keep it beautifully. It's always got a polished hull. The gear on it, we're sort of looking at now is proper gear kind of thing. There's no old school stuff here. It's all good sailing stuff. Tell us about why all that stuff matters so much.
Well, if you're going to be competitive these days, you have to have exactly what the other guys have got, and that goes to the electronics and carbon rudders, I don't think carbon for rudder was around in 1981. We've got a carbon toilet.
Oh, you've got a carbon toilet as well. You share that with Comanche.
The big guys have got a carbon toilet. We've got a crew van. We've got
exactly.
Anything they've got, we've got. And my rationale, especially where they park me at the CY, is other crews have to walk past this boat, and then they go to their boat and go, that boat's in a lot better condition than this one. So you've psyched them out. We're going to get done.
Mental done. And the other thing is that you bought this boat on a credit card. Looking at it, there is no way anyone would have a credit card to be able to buy this off you at any stage.
No, that's what I'm hoping. Yeah, it was $23,000 when I bought it, and then I used to keep the receipts of what I was spending on the boat, and it got to $300, and that's when I stopped keeping receipts. But it's just, you've got to keep up with the times, and some things I've done 3 times as you sailed the boat, because you just don't think that's right. And it's not good and that. So you might do a job 3 times till you get it just right.
Yeah.
And you're employing shipwrights and
Yep.
mechanics and
Yeah.
and they all charge. And in Sydney Harbour, a lot of people think it's a big place, but if you don't pay one bill, everybody
knows about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And just tell us a bit about your crew, because they've been incredible, haven't they? They are really good sailors.
Oh yeah, well Jim Nixon, 27, this is his 28th. Duncan the navigator, he's done 19, and I don't get involved in any of that weather stuff and all that, whereas he loves it.
Yeah.
And I just say, just put a course on just put the waypoint in,
Yeah.
we'll follow that. And but yeah, he's right into that sort of stuff. And the other guys, they've all done Hobarts, and Ben, he just built Impeccable.
Yeah.
So everybody's got their own boats because everybody's got to steer and everybody's got to do everything.
Yeah.
And that night, the Tuesday night, with those conditions, if you didn't have that, like a lot of boats, they'll have some principal steerers and then some other people that have a go.
Yeah.
And most of the have a go people, they recognise that level that they're happy to go to, and they just won't, in those conditions.
Yeah.
So that puts a lot more strain on the guys to steer. But on this one, you can trust everybody.
Yeah, and that seemed to be, Rod Jones was talking about the same. You've just got to have quite a lot of depth there in those conditions to know you're going to manage it. So, your last Hobart, is the boat up for sale?
It is for sale, yeah, and I don't know if it'll go in Australia. You know how, like Bruce Taylor shoots hard to Ed Solis and Ed goes and wins?
Yes.
That would be depressing.
That would be very depressing.
Yeah.
So you just better make sure there's something that they don't quite get when they get the boat.
I won't tell them everything at the handover.
That's right, absolutely.
But the boat went great, and I judge it successful campaign, not so much. It's good to win.
Yeah.
But I do it as a campaign from my army days.
Yeah.
And when the boat gets back to Sydney, and Duncan is bringing it back this year, and from the planning, and we didn't break anything, and no one got hurt, and we had a great time.
Yeah.
That's the campaign that gives me the satisfaction.
Yeah.
It all worked out, rather than you got a first or a second in our place. But anyway.
Yeah.
But that gives you the satisfaction. You planned it all, and it all came off.
And Jim Nixon says it's not all about Shane, but it is really.
Yes. And you can say that to but deep down he knows, and there's going to be a great void in the sailing community now that I'm gone.
There's going to be a massive void. But there's a bit of legacy there, isn't it? Because Impeccable's now being put together as a campaign, so most of the crew will go to that, yeah?
Yeah, well that's going to really help. Like when I said this is my last one, I think the happiest bloke was Ben Gray, and I'm checking him when he gets off the boat, because I think half the stuff that is on here he was going to take Impeccable. He likes the life jackets, the PLBs, he likes a lot of stuff, so I'll be watching him.
Well, I have to say, Shane, you have given us so much pleasure, all our audience, us media as well. I can't tell you the countless hours we've all spent in the media office speculating in the last 48 hours. Can Shane get there? And Shane's always going, yes, we'll get there, we'll get there.
Yeah, well, you've got to be confident.
Yeah.
If you haven't got the belief, you're never going to win.
No,
so
absolutely.
Unfortunately, I had the belief in spades, and we just always, it's this last part. And because we're always going great down the coast. And anyway.
Well, look, it's been fantastic. I want to say a huge thank you to you, Shane, because you've just added so much sort of life and joy to this race, and how professional you are, the way you set the boat up, the boat's immaculate, your crew, the way you present the whole thing, your kind of positive nature. It's been brilliant, and we're going to miss it sorely. Maybe if you can come and do commentary with us, I think we'd love that.
Well, then... Yeah.
There's a moment's pause there.
Yeah, well, I'm not as polished. I might say the wrong thing.
Polish isn't required. No, saying the wrong thing's perfectly fine, because you say it very well with great aplomb. But anyway.
Yeah, like I'll be saying, who? He's got no chance.
Well, thank you so much, Shane. We really enjoyed having you around on the scene, and wish you well from here.